On, Donner and Blitzen. Now, Rudolph, now!
Merry Christmas to all!
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
It just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back to In-Game Live here on the SportsGrid Network. Merry Christmas. Dubs Anderson alongside Tom Vecchio taking you through the next couple of hours here on Wednesday afternoon. It's been a fast flying start to the day. We've had a five-game slate in the association. A couple of results from earlier today. The Knicks get the chocolates over the Spurs in a close one, and the Timberwolves over there in Dallas take down the Mavericks. What we do have live on tap, the 76ers have come to play 63-56 over in the city of Boston, going against the reigning champs. Still 34 seconds left in the second quarter, and we'll jump in with a couple of live updates and looks going into the second half, and also approaching the halftime break. Second game in the NFL. The Ravens lead the Texans 17-2, but it looks like Houston, they can have a final possession here, but they're going to have to do something pretty special if they're to pick up points prior to the halftime break, Tom.
Yeah, only a few seconds left on the clock. You would love to see them push the ball, get two chunk plays, call the timeout, maybe kick a field goal, and then again, they get the ball to start the third quarter as C.J. Stroud has kind of got a little bit banged up there. But this would be the spot for them to take advantage. Get a field goal, get them to 5 points, and then score on the first drive coming out of halftime, I think is crucial, because if it continues to go this way, the Ravens are going to win this game by 20 points. And they're going to fly past the number. If anyone altered them, which some people like to do, instead of 6.5, you take them at 9.5 to get them past that number. Stroud, I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but Stroud's a little bit banged up right now.
Things go from bad to worse here on Christmas Day for the Houston Texans. They're now sitting at plus 1,000. That total sitting at 41.5. They need C.J. Stroud. They need him at full fitness. They need him out there. If C.J. Stroud is I guess battling concerns, it does not look good for the Houston Texans, because we're looking at this game script, and that's the tough thing, Tom, and it's going to be a critical factor going through the playoffs. If the Baltimore Ravens score first, a very tough assignment in trying to play catch-up football. They can really strangle you with that run game. But if they were to get behind early in this game and you put a bit more pressure on that passing game, on Lamar Jackson, by stuffing the box, getting rid of Derrick Henry, I don't know. And that's going to be the concern for me with Baltimore going into the playoffs once they face, a couple of better teams than what we're seeing here from the Houston Texans. I think that could be the vulnerability. It's that game script and really trying to take it to them early, which we haven't seen today.
Right. And this comes down to a lot of teams where, the Bills are a flexible team. The Lions are a flexible team. They can get the running game going. Obviously, Montgomery's not here now, but they can get it going with Gibbs. They have plenty of passing options. But if things don't go the Ravens' way, like you said, them playing from out in front is what they want. So if it doesn't go their way, what are we expecting from them? And will they be able to overcome that in the playoffs, as we've kind of seen them fail over the past few years? So, we talked about it before. Like, you have to prove it in the playoffs. I think they can do it this year. I think they've gone through enough difficulties in the playoffs that they have a chance to finally learn their lesson and say, let's just do things the right way this year. We can control the game with the ground game. We can control it with Derrick Henry, and they shouldn't have an issue. At least that's why I would like to say at this point.
And Tom, it's great this point of the season, 2 weeks left, 2 rounds left before we make it into the playoffs. But we have a lot of, SportsGrid faithful viewers, highly excited bettors here joining us on a Wednesday afternoon. Maybe they're headed out towards that Christmas dinner and they're needing a bit of table discussion, table talk. And instead of highlighting the big performers, let's take it to the flip side. Let's be those guys. If you're sitting there at the dinner table coming up later this evening and, we start to circle around, Tom, who's been the biggest disappointment this season for you in the National Football League? Whether it be a player, whether it be a team that maybe should be tanking so they can get that number 1 draft spot. Cough, cough, Raiders, what were you doing last week? But who's been the biggest disappointment coming into Week 17 for you?
I would say prior to the injury of Trevor Lawrence, it's the Jaguars, right? Where you this massive contract, you bring in wide receivers in the offseason, you draft a wide receiver with Brian Thomas, and they're terrible. And you got to think that this division was a little bit wide open, especially at the beginning of the season. Maybe we could say that the Texans coming in the year were the best team. They won it last year, but a huge question mark from the Colts. We weren't going to get any level of consistency from Anthony Richardson. The Titans, I didn't think they posed too much of a threat, and Will Levis clearly isn't the answer there. But you would like to think that the Jags could push towards a wild card this year, and that just wasn't the case. And obviously, he got hurt. He's done for the year. We understand that. But even prior to that, they were a disaster. And now maybe you want to throw in the Cowboys into the same conversation where things just didn't go their way, even when they were healthy with Dak Prescott. But two teams that really need to figure things out, especially the Cowboys with the hype that they have surrounding them year in and year out.
Yeah, the poor old Dallas Cowboys. Does Mike McCarthy, does he come back? Will he be holding the clipboard? No, Tom, you're saying no. Let's cut ties.
There are so many coaches. With Stefanski with Cleveland, he shouldn't be back. Mike McCarthy shouldn't be back. Here's the answer. Mike McCarthy's not back. They bring in Deion Sanders. That's what I think everyone wants to see, right? We have a player that has a connection to it, the hype around it, all those things. So Cowboys shouldn't bring him back. The Bears need a head coaching change. Who else? The Saints, they need a head coaching change. So many teams need a change, but I think it starts with Cleveland. It starts with the Jags, then it starts with Dallas.
And I saw earlier today, now this is just per social media, so I don't know how credible this is, but Pete Carroll showing a bit of interest in getting back into the NFL, possibly with the Chicago Bears. What a great outcome that would be. One of the sharpest minds in the business, pair up with a very young, exciting team. I tell you what, Tom, well, we'll get your thoughts on Pete Carroll, but right there with you, the Jags, Trevor Lawrence. I had some big futures on them and the Miami Dolphins. And, for Trevor Lawrence, a player that the talent, it just doesn't parallel with what we have seen on Sunday afternoons. And, for the Dolphins, well, it's not a matter of the weapons. It's been a matter of fitness and health. And they've still got a chance. Browns, Jets going on the road. But what do you think? Would Pete Carroll be a fantastic addition coming back into the league?
He may be, but it's not for the Bears. And when we look back over what Pete Carroll has done in terms of his coaching tendencies, the kind of OC he brings in, Pete Carroll loves to run the football. Right, everyone knows that. That's what they had when Marshawn Lynch was there. We know what we get from Pete Carroll, and when it comes down to it, that's not how you develop an offensive quarterback. And you need to have a good quarterback to win in the NFL. So you need an offensive-minded passing coach or passing coordinator to bring the best out of Caleb Williams. Them handing the ball off 30 times is not how you develop Caleb Williams into a quarterback that can go on the road and win and go against and compete a Josh Allen or compete against even in that own division with 3 other awesome teams in that division. You need a passing-minded coach and OC to lead Caleb Williams into the star that he should become.
NFC North, Lions, Vikings, Packers. I mean, three teams that are absolute juggernauts with three pretty young quarterbacks. I mean, even Sam Darnold is young there in age. So for the Chicago Bears, really tough assignment. They've got 4 wins. I love the look of the unders on their win total. So too for the Jets there as well. What do you think about the Vikings, Tom? Have you been impressed? Are you buying in? They feel like the sleeper play going into the playoffs.
I am very impressed, and I think it's because they're led by their defense. I know Sam Darnold's been great this year. Justin Jefferson, Addison, they got Hawkinson back. Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield. But what Brian Flores does on defense, the blitzes that he brings, I think it enables the offense to play a very safe game. Like Sam Darnold doesn't need to be a star. I don't want to say game manager. I don't like that term. But if he can just effectively move the ball down the field to Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield, the defense will shine, and that's what will help them win.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a team playing with plenty of confidence going in to Week 17 into the playoffs there as well. It's almost time for another timeout on the other side. It's the halftime break in the NBA, the NFL. We'll get some best bets on in just a second. Stick with it.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to In-Game Live. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. We've got some updates in the NBA. The 76ers leading 66 to 58 at the halftime break over the Boston Celtics in Boston. Standout performers early in this one. Tyrese Maxey, he's got the 18-piece. And Joel Embiid, who we did have a couple of question marks on prior to tip-off. He's looked pretty strong going through the first half there for Philly, putting up 18 there himself. So suddenly the Celtics, tough assignment coming out of the locker room, Tom.
Absolutely tough assignment, and they just need to keep up the scoring. I think they've done a good job on defense, at least, shutting down Jaylen Brown to start. But how long will that continue? Because we know the Celtics can bring the scoring early and often, especially with the volume of three-pointers that they take. The question is, I kind of mentioned when we were doing some other updates, the Celtics are minus 2.5 now. I know you have them, the 76ers, that is, but if you didn't have them, would you be interested in the Celtics at minus 2.5?
Absolutely. I'm happy to jump back in and find another position on this one. I think the total's live, third quarter total at 55.5. I think the Boston Celtics win this game, and can they cover 2.5? Absolutely. So then I've got 2 tickets in play. But for Boston, this is the wake up call. Joey Mazzulla, he's got the clipboard out here at the halftime break saying, "All right, we're in a ball game. It's Christmas Day. We're the reigning champs. This is what we want to be playing for. This is what is on the line." And for the 76ers, same old story. It's fitness, it's injuries. Can they sustain it? Can they keep up and put up? They're probably going to have to put up, another 58, 60 points in the second half and trying to get this outright win. So I love it. I think the Celtics are absolutely live and making a big fast start coming out of the break.
Yeah, I just jumped in at minus 2.5 for the Celtics. They're the better team. That's what it comes down to. I keep saying that for a lot of different things. Do I want to see them run on the hot side of variance as they continue to shoot 46 from 3? Yeah, that would be great to see them kind of quiet things down. Will Maxey and Embiid both be pushing towards 40 points? I certainly hope not. At least I hope Maxey does, so he can continue to boost up that season-long average. But I'm jumping in on the Celtics minus 2.5. That's where I'm looking. Do you have any other action for the NFL? Because we are seeing a very, very one-sided game, and I would love to see an update on C.J. Stroud, who did leave at the very end of that second quarter there.
Yeah, I'm seeing that C.J. Stroud is walking up the sidelines, so hopefully it's thumbs up. We will get an injury report here as the players run off into the locker room. It's 17-2, so the Ravens really in control of this one. And for the Texans, not to say that their season is on the line, but this is really a referendum spot. Can they play without another superstar? Tank Dell, massive loss coming into this game, and they got to figure things out. You look at time of possession, it's been very close between both teams, but it's just that offense. They've really struggled to get it down the field, and not to take anything away from what we have seen from the Ravens, big performance. Lamar's got the passing game going. Derrick Henry's got 15 carries, a touchdown, 94 rushing yards, and he's now just going into the halftime break. So there could be more to come on the other side.
Right, and I would say the Texans need to use this second half as a growing point, because this is their offense that they have for the rest of the year. Tank Dell, like you said, is out, and regardless of the outcome, again, it's not a literal must-win, as you mentioned, but they need to show things that they can actually operate an offense efficiently. So they need to play this, I don't want to say like a preseason game, I'm not going to go that far, but can we move the ball? Can we score? Because if they can't score, these are concerning signs, not just for the playoffs, but even just for next week against the Tennessee Titans team that they lost to a few weeks ago. So they will be going into the playoffs limping and have no confidence as a team that they can go out there and competently put together a game plan. So they're not scaring anyone at this point. So if you have a first-round matchup against the Texans, you are licking your lips, ready to feast on that.
They've got to show us more than this. And Tom, for the bettors who are joining us here on Christmas Day, we're having a good time, but we're also trying to cash a couple of winning tickets. Looking at the receiving props going into the second half, Nico Collins has got 29. His updated line sits at 82.5. That's a scary one for me. Dalton Schultz has got 18 receiving yards, and he's sitting at 39.5. That's a play who I think is going to have to be big in this game if the Texans are trying to get back into this thing. He's big. He's got those hands. You can bank on him, and he's really probably just going to have to rattle off 1 or 2 more receptions, and he'll go over the 40 receiving yards. So that's going to be my live pickup going into the second half here. Dalton Schultz, 39.5 is that number at the FanDuel Sportsbook. What about for you, sir? What do you say? Who's a player that could see a bit more production?
Yeah, I actually bought back into Joe Mixon. Like I said, I like him over 22.5, but I bought back in at over 24.5. There are some various live boosts, 25% live boosts, different promos. Always make sure to use those wherever you are. And of course, shop for the best lines available. You can find a 23 out there. I'd absolutely take that. But I'm back in on Joe Mixon. Even if we don't see CJ Stroud out there, Again, we love final confirmation on that. But even if he is out there, if he's not moving well and the pressure is coming to him against the offensive line that has not been good for the Texans, those easy, quick passes to Joe Mixon should be there. And realistically, once he gets the ball in his hands, he's a great runner, can make people miss. So he's at 13 right now. One more catch can put him to 25.
And this game feels like it can go in two directions, coming out of the locker room. Once we get through this Beyonce performance, the Texans are grabbing 14.5. They're plus 900 straight up on the money line, and the total's at 41.5. The Texans can either come out of the locker room, score quickly, make it a one-score game potentially, and they're back in this thing, absolutely live, straight up on the money line, or it turns into an absolute snoozer. The Ravens put up a few more points, they get one more score, and that's the end of the ball game, and they continue to run the rock and just take the clock out of the equation. With that, how do we play Derrick Henry? 94 rushing yards in the first half. His updated line sits at 141.5 rushing yards. What do we expect for Henry? Did they lean on that run game, or do you rest him?
Right, and it all comes down to this first drive for the Texans, because if they score, Henry's live line at plus 140 is very doable for him because he will be in the game. But if they cannot score, we got to start scaling these players back as we get to the fourth quarter. If they're up by 3 scores, there's literally no reason for them to be out there with a divisional matchup to clinch the division next week against the Steelers.
If you had told me the rushing line live for Joe Mixon is at 40.5 at the halftime break, I'd say, Tom, where are we going for dinner? Where are we going to party? We've already cashed. He's only got 16. What is going on? More on the other side.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this bet than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
Got it.
They just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back into In-Game Live. Merry Christmas. Happy Wednesday afternoon. Dubs Edis alongside Tom Vecchio having a bit of fun, bit of a round table here for you live betting enthusiasts, and also sharing the latest and greatest from the sports world. And no shortage here, even with it being Christmas Day. Plenty of NBA hoops, plenty of NFL. We've got game number 2 currently at the halftime break, and Beyonce is out there in the mix. Queen Bee, things you love to see in the all-white, looking like Miami Vice. It looks like a great performance, and it has been from Beyonce and also from the Baltimore Ravens, leading this game 17-2. So the Texans, they're playing catch-up. C.J. Stroud, he's playing a little banged up. They're going to have to find a little something coming out from that halftime break. And, Tom, I tell you who's found something coming out of the locker room. It's out there on the hardwood. Boston Celtics. It's now a one-point game with 9:40 left in the third. Who has been that catalyst for the Celtics to get back into this thing, or is it just what we expected?
It's what we expected. They're just the better team overall. It's good to see Brown actually getting some scoring going as we start the third quarter. Tatum's knocking down another 3. This line has already jumped to, what am I seeing now, 5.5. It was 2.5. So, different ways to approach things with good teams, right? You just buy in on their money line. You are maybe not now that they're minus 310, but they were at minus 122. You buy them at 2.5, or you just bank on those good players, their best players who had slow starts to the game. You're just buying on that positive regression. And they're not going to finish games 1 of 15 from the field. They will start to hit some shots. And that's where we're getting with the Celtics. I'm in at minus 2.5. I love to see the fact that it's already at minus 5.5 before you know this line's going to balloon up to 11.5 or 12.5. And I think the Celtics will come away with a victory, of course, led by a nice comeback by Brown and Tatum. I think they continue to cruise in the second half.
I think they're live back into this one, and nice job by you there, Tom, identifying a bit of value on that side of the board. I'll throw a player into the mix here. Joel Embiid, health, fitness concerns prior to tip-off. He's put up 18 points so far. His updated line sits at 29.5, and I'm correlating that with we've suddenly got a game on our hands, an arm wrestle, a rock fight. We know that Embiid has shown us a bit of physicality in the first half, so I think with this one being a little closer, back and forth, we'll come down to the final couple of possessions, but I think that's going to be enough to get Embiid another 10 points here or so and get north of 30 points. So I love that pickup. 76ers still leading this one just by a single point. And if you missed it earlier today, Timberwolves get the win over the Dallas Mavericks. We saw the Knicks fending off a pretty spirited effort from the San Antonio Spurs, and we've still got 2 games coming up after this one. Lakers going against the Warriors, Nuggets going against the Suns. And Tom, we started, top of the show. You shared a couple of best bets, but get the bettors up to speed who are maybe looking towards that Lakers Golden State game. How do we think it plays out?
I think we see some scoring. That's my initial lean on this. I think the 221 or the 220 is down to 219.5 now. That feels a little bit light. Feels a little bit light, especially for a Christmas slate. Players want to get out there. They want to score, put on a good show. I do slightly lean with the Warriors. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but I certainly want to be looking to Rui Hachimura under 11.5 points. Rui Hachimura under 11.5 points. It's just not a spot or it's just not a role that he has been to in terms of scoring consistently. When we're looking back at this game log, not in terms of the points, but the field goals overall. When we're seeing him be capped at essentially 8 or 9 field goals on a game in and game out basis, he's just not a primary shooter. So I'm expecting to be LeBron, AD, probably Reeves as the number 3, and then it leaves a lot to be desired for some of these secondary or tertiary players, which Hachimura is one of them. So I will take him under 11.5 points, despite the fact that I like over in this game. I like the under on him specifically.
I like that. Rui Hachimura, Buddy Hield, he's been a fantastic piece to the Golden State Warriors, getting more minutes, more opportunities. I look towards Buddy Hield. I'm trying to find his threes for Buddy. What do we got? 2 or more, 3 or more? Are we getting a single market? Okay. Buddy Hield, 3-pointers made.
2.5.
Over
I see 2.5 plus 130. Yeah.
I like that, Tom. Give me Buddy Hield plus money, more than 2.5 threes made. Again, I think we see plenty of offense in this one as well. What have you made of the Lakers from what you have seen to this point in the season? JJ Redick, he seems to have all the answers at times. LeBron's still playing fantastic basketball. Anthony Davis, career best, and with that, we're rolling into a little commercial timeout. So you're going to have to get your thoughts on this one on the other side. But the Lakers, this is a nice-looking spot, 16-13 for their year. Haven't been good going on the roads. They're going to have to figure it out. But it's LeBron James in a prime-time spot. Going to be very, very motivated for this one. That's the Lakers taking on the Golden State Warriors. Just less than an hour and a half away. That's coming up on the other side.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Played a decent schedule. They had maybe 500.
Got it.
They just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back into In-Game Live. Happy Wednesday afternoon. Merry Christmas. Dubs Anderson here alongside Tom Vecchio. And you're watching along right here on the SportsGrid Network. And get excited, sports fans. What a Wednesday evening we have on tap. The Baltimore Ravens, the Texans, they're in the trenches. But Baltimore with a fast start into the third here. 17-2, massive takeaway. CJ Stroud comes up with a timely turnover. But Tom, we cashed. We took that live play. Over half an interception. There we got even money.
Getting that on the board, and it was, I would say, spot on with the game script we've talked about from the jump. Leading into this game, we said the Ravens would be out in front. They would win this wire to wire. And you said specifically Stroud would be under pressure. He's going to have to take those shots down the field. They come out. He's under pressure. He scrambles for one play. Next thing you know, tries to take a shot, which was, 20, 25 yards down the field. Leads to an interception as we see Lamar rushing a touchdown here. Wow. They are cruising. He's got 73 on the ground with the one touchdown, 147 in the air with the one passing touchdown. It is 23-2 at the start of the third quarter. And this is also something we mentioned at halftime. If this game gets away from things, this is where Henry will actually fall under his prop because there's no reason for him to be out there.
Why keep him out there? And I mean, how do you stop this thing? Lamar Jackson literally was in the back of the pocket, said, all right, no pressure, see you later. 50-yard house call, and he made it look like he was playing against a peewee football team. He's just got electric speed, pace that's unmatched there from a quarterback. What an athlete. So the Ravens take a further lead in this game, 24-2 over the Texans. And how can we use this, Tom, to our advantage? So we know the game script is probably going to dictate that Derrick Henry is not so run heavy. They may try and look to limit his minutes. Lamar Jackson, we're probably not going to see that kind of run again. But for the Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, we've already picked up that winning ticket with one interception. Is it pass attempts? Is it more interceptions? Is there a player's receiving yards that we could look towards to cash?
Pick your, chocolate or vanilla. Pick what you like. I think all of those are going to be in play, where the passing attempt should be there. His yards are sitting as 250, 254.5 right now. He's got 121. We have 13 minutes left in the third quarter. They're going to get the ball back. it's good that the Ravens scored immediately. So they didn't grind the clock down. They're not taking 10 minutes, 7 minutes off the clock, whatever it is. C.J. Stroud gets the ball right back in his hands. They have to pass the ball. I will say there's also an opportunity to look at under on Mark Andrews on some of his live receiving props, under on Zay Flowers, because they don't need to pass the ball. So not everyone's going to be hitting some of these overs. So you could look to all Texans overs in at least the passing categories and some receiving unders on the Ravens.
Tom, you break my heart. Prior to kickoff, I had Mark Andrews, more than 3.5 receptions. I couldn't decide. Do we take his receiving yards or do I take 3.5? And maybe it's like, an arm wrestle style of game where Andrews gets 4 receptions for, 30, 35 yards. Didn't happen. Get one, he gets long, see you later. He's probably not going to hit 3.5 receptions or more now. But I'm going to look towards Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is going to be my guy to get me back on the right side of it. 18 receiving yards already, 38.5 is that new total. I think we could get over this with one more look. And for the Texans, love to see Joey Mixon, that run game, finally get going. But at this point, you're playing catch-up football. The goal is to win this thing. Let's get it downfield. Let's get it to the big fella, Dalton Schultz. And you can get that -113, 38.5 or more. Another live pickup for this game, Tom. Anything that stands out to you on the Houston side of the ball? Any players that could see a potential uptick? I know we've already got Joey Mixon that we're sitting on.
Yeah. I'm on board with the Schultz play. And, we're going to get to a point where the Ravens will start playing a prevent defense, soft zone. It's not going to be that tight man-to-man off the line. So whether it's garbage time yards, whether they're yards in the first quarter, the fourth quarter, doesn't matter. They all cash the same bet. So, you know what? I'll jump in on Schultz with you over 38.5 because I do think he's a good player, and it can't be Nico Collins every time. They have to get someone else involved. So let's roll with Schultz. We already have Mixon. Let's add it to the day.
I like it. Little team ride there. Dalton Schultz, take us towards that promised land and get the Texans back into this ball game. It looks like they're going to have to make a fast start here, down 24-2. Back in the association, the NBA Hoops continues here on Christmas Day, and what a ball game we have between the 76ers and the Celtics. It was squared up at 76 apiece. The Celtics just getting that go-ahead bucket. Now 78-76. Boston leading in their building. Surprise, surprise. Jason Tatum now shining underneath those bright lights. 21 points, 12 rebounds. And that's the scary thing about the Celtics. They've got a couple of different directions they go. But Tatum, when he's on, when he is flying, watch out. Tough to slow down.
Right. And, we've talked about the Celtics on the show that this is the best version. I love the fact that there are some games that it actually doesn't have to be the Tatum and Brown show. Then, obviously Porzingis didn't start the year, but when you have a Derek White, when you have a Peyton Pritchard, you're able to add these secondary options that sometimes they can drop 15 or 20 points. And Tatum or Brown falls under their points prop. They're not going for 30, 35. But when you have 4 different players who can put up 20 or 25, you're in a great spot as a team overall. So credit to the Celtics and credit to Brad Stevens, who's now in the front office for the roster that they built. They are going to be a force year in and year out until something dramatic changes.
Who's going to be that player for the 76ers to lean on in staying close? I like the look of Joel Embiid trying to get it over 29.5 points. I'm trying to take a look at some of the updated lines here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Embiid's now got 23, so he's trending in the right direction. What about Tyrese Maxey? I feel like he has been on an absolute heater the last couple of weeks. He's already got 20, 26.5 is that updated line. Who's a player for Philly that's going to have to step up and trying to get this result over the Celtics?
I don't mind. I'm looking at it now. Caleb Martin's already got 11. His live line is 12.5. It is juiced -136. And granted, he's not a primary shot taker. It's going to go Embiid and Maxey and George in terms of the offensive usage. But Caleb Martin's 3 of 5 from downtown. And his live line is sitting at 12.5 when he has 11. You just need one bucket, literally one bucket from him. Granted, not a field goal, but one actual shot from him, and he would be able to cash that. So if the defense is going to divert extra effort or extra resources to Embiid and Maxey, Caleb Martin's going to be left open for a corner 3. It just comes down to him actually hitting it.
Caleb Martin there for another bucket, and it could be a nice-looking cash. Still 2:56 left in the third. And, Tom, I'm going to throw a hypothetical one at you. Let's say I enter this game, 76ers, Celtics, all on the line. give me 12 minutes of play here going through the third and the fourth. What's the line for me to pick up 2 points? A single bucket. What would you set me at if you were the odds maker in the wrist room?
Oh, I don't know how tall you are, so we could start with that.
I'm 6 foot square, no athleticism. Okay. That's why your boy absolutely loves it out on the golf course. Never played a lick of basketball. I've shot a couple of paper maches into the corner bin. So that's the data we have to draw on. What's the line set for me?
Any shot, I would say hopefully it's a 3-point shot, just because you don't have to get into the lane. You won't be dealing with a size disadvantage of someone that's 7 feet. I would say plus 800 is probably a fair line. It's a chance, but it's not a good one.
Yeah, it's a puncher's chance. You leave me out there long enough, I'll find a way to the bucket. Tom, what was your sport? Obviously, you cover all the sports on the daily, and you do a fantastic job doing so here on the SportsGrid Network. But what was your job, I guess, top sport going through high school? What was the one that you either enjoyed playing or you're keeping tabs on?
It was basketball and then track. I was a jumper, so it was always long jump, high jump for me.
You're kidding? Yeah, you got some hops on you, Tom Vecchio. Yeah. Unbelievable.
I got up to, what was it, 18 feet on the long jump, and I cleared 5'8" on high jump, 5'8", 5'9", I can't remember.
I tell you what, I had a couple of things on the bingo card. That certainly wasn't it for Tom Vecchio here on this Christmas Day special on the SportsGrid Network. Watch out for the vertical. Watch out for the vertical. Any more coming up on the other side.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
They just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back into In-Game Live Game Day. Dubs Anderson alongside Tom Vecchio taking you through the next couple of hours here. Christmas Day special on the SportsGrid Network, and certainly no shortage of great betting opportunities to jump in and play along. And we appreciate you for joining us here on the SportsGrid Network. Hopefully having a very festive Wednesday afternoon, enjoying it with friends, family, mates, or you're joining us here on the SportsGrid family. Let's have a good time. And if you've got a couple of selections, maybe a couple of hot takes, let us know on the old socials there. Tom Vecchio, Mr. Dubsy, and we'll have a couple of laughs there. But, Tom, no laughing matter. We've got a serious ball game in the association. Celtics up by 2, 80-78. So Philly really trying to stay in the thick of this one. And out there on the gridiron, Baltimore Ravens in control over the Houston Texans, 24-2. And this could be a sign of the times. Baltimore, watch out going into the postseason. For the Houston Texans, they're losing that momentum. They do not look good. CJ Stroud's copping a lot of pressure. They really just don't have anything to try and find that spark. And this could be, I guess, synonymous with the Texans and their playoff chances. It doesn't look great.
It doesn't. And there's a lot to take away from this game. Granted, the Texans aren't at full health, but, coming into this game, the Ravens defense has gotten better, especially after a really rough start to the season, right? They lost in week 2 or whatever it was, week 3 to the Raiders at home. The Ravens were 10-point favorites, and they lost. Then the Ravens have this kind of disaster game on, I forget, it was a Monday night, it was a Thursday night game against the Bengals where Joe Burrow throws for 400 yards and Jamar Chase goes for 200. And everyone has this idea that the Ravens are a bad defense, but they've slowly gotten better week by week. And for the Texans, they are just not moving the ball on offense. They cannot sustain drives. The passing has taken a clear step back. And the Ravens obviously are a team to be feared once we get into January and get into the postseason. I think these two teams are moving in vastly different directions at this point. I will say, it's important to know, the Texans team total coming into the year, I believe was 9.5. They're sitting on 9, and they play the Titans next week, and they already lost to the Titans.
Geez, that'd be a nice-looking sweat, wouldn't it? The final couple of weeks there. You would have thought you had this one in the bag, but suddenly, I don't know, I'd like towards the unders for that ticket. Tennessee Titans, that could be, final week of any regular season, no matter what sport it is, Tom. That's when the wacky results really come into play. What are they actually playing for? Well, for the head coaches, it's a little different. For some of the players, maybe they're playing for contracts, incentives, etc. So that would not be a ticket I'd be excited about holding in the back pocket. But taking a look ahead to what we have on tap for Week 17, Thursday in Seattle going against the Chicago Bears and King Caleb. We already jumped into that game, plus 160. I think the Bears are absolutely live at home. And Caleb Williams, north of 250 passing yards is what you identified. I think that's spot on. He's getting set for a big performance. And then on the Saturday, let's take it to the Saturday slate in the National Football League. We've got 3 games on deck. Early game will be the Chargers going against the Patriots. And the Patriots have found their guy, Drake May, quarterback. He's looked fantastic. Chargers, that was a big result for them coming out of Week 16. But now going into Foxborough, this is a scary one.
Yeah, an early game in terms of it being 1 p.m. for a West Coast team coming east. It's also a short week because they are playing on Saturday. My ultimate takeaway for this game is the Chargers, I'm going to say it again, Chargers are a better team in this matchup. They win this game. I'm not sure if they cover, though. 4.5 is kind of a weird number to be trusting them. I like what we saw from the Pats last week going into Buffalo, 14.5-point underdogs, and they keep that game close for the majority of it. So my ultimate takeaway for this game is I want to live bet the Chargers at minus 2.5. That's my favorite. That's going to be my favorite spot. And listen, it may never get to that point. We may never get the Chargers at minus 2 or minus 2.5. I think they're good enough to win this game. The 4.5 is just not a number I like. So I will be taking the Chargers at minus 4.5 in my pick'em pool because I literally have to pick that game. But when it turns to actually betting on them, I want it to be in game minus 2 or minus 2.5.
Tell me more, Tom, about this pick'em pool. Has this been going on since prior to the season kicking off, or is it?
Yeah,
mate.
So week 1, we pick every game every week, and then it's just your total standings at the end of the season. It's got 100 some odd people in it, put together by some friends and by friends of friends and an uncle and a cousin and you name it. And it's just every game every week, and it is tough, and that's what it comes down to. And there are times where the lines lock where we have to pick them by a certain day. So if, let's say, the line changes for the Chargers and it drops to 3.5, I would bet them at 3.5, but I'm already locked into the Chargers at minus 4.5 for the pick'em pool. And sometimes you get different results, which can be frustrating, but it is what it is.
Tom, has there been any, standout bad beats or big performances to get you across the line? Obviously, you're still in the mix at this point of the season. You've been seeing it well. Has there been a standout coming into Week 17 for you?
A standout? I'd have to go back through some of the box scores, but who's been your money maker? 2 2 weeks ago, the Broncos had that defensive touchdown on that lateral play against the Colts, and the Texans and the Broncos cover. So that one is a recent one. So they're always good. The Lions are just a moneymaker every week. You can just bet on them. They're going to cover most times. The Bills are always a good team to bank on it. Then you just fade the Titans every week, and you should be fine.
ATS best coming into week 17, Broncos, Lions, and Vikings. So they're the teams cashing tickets. And speaking of cashing tickets, here you go, the Baltimore Ravens. Looks like we've got another score, now 31-2. Wow, Lamar's still scrambling. He's getting out of the pocket using his wheels. There's no give up in this team, Tom. And unfortunately for the Texans, they're on the wrong side of it right now.
Wrong side of it right now. That was a catch for Mark Andrews, though, who did catch that recent touchdown. So he's up to 2. He needs 2 more. I don't know if that'll be happening as we push to the fourth quarter. They're up by nearly 30. Let's get some of the veterans some rest. Let's get Derrick Henry off the field. Let's get Lamar off the field. Get the backups in there. Get home with no injuries.
Yeah, that's always going to be the goal. And when you've got Mark Andrews for 3.5 receptions, the game script for me, Tom, would have been a lot closer, and I would have needed, that passing game a little more from Lamar. So 31-2, expected to be run heavy as we've got 5 minutes 50 left here in the third quarter. The Texans are going to have to show us a little something right now on the offensive side of the ball. Absolutely nothing. Couldn't stop a nosebleed, and C.J. Stroud continues to eat the ground. So when we come back on the other side, we'll check in with the NBA. Updated scores coming up.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Played a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
They just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
We're back at it here on In-Game Live. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Wednesday evening. We've got a great slate going on right now. Baltimore Ravens dictating terms against the Houston Texans. 31-2. The Texans trying to get things going. 5 minutes 20 left here in the third quarter. But since coming out from the halftime break, really haven't shown anything on the offensive side of the ball. What about this run game? Joe Mixon, one of my favorite running backs in the league, 8 carries for 18 yards. And I tell you what, his rushing game's probably not going to see a big uptick given they're so far behind in this one. We still like his receiving mark, but for the Houston Texans, they're looking for answers. It looks like they just connected to get one a little further down the field. But at this point of the game, Tom, on the betting side of things, the live betting side of things, I've got my tickets in play. I'm happy with where I stand, and it's just that unknown of, is Lamar going to come back into the game? Are the Houston Texans really going to push this one and trying to get back into the margin? I just don't see it playing out. But how do you approach on the betting side of things?
It's super tough, and I would say it depends on what you already have out there. Like you said, you're comfortable where you are. If you aren't expecting Lamar to be out there, then it's all Texans props at a certain point. Like we could be seeing C.J. Stroud just pile up the yards in garbage time. There's a full quarter left. Like we're not talking about 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We're talking about 4 minutes in the third quarter plus an entire quarter. So as I said, I think there's a part of the Texans. They've lost this game. They know that they've lost this game. You still have to go out there and build some amount of team confidence that you can score, that you will have a shot at beating the Titans next week and going into the playoffs to build that team chemistry, team confidence, whatever you want to call it. I think that's what has to be done at this point. So they're playing against backups, third strings, whatever it is. They need to go out there and at least have some type of silver lining that they can grasp to for the final few weeks.
Yeah, you've got to try and take a couple of positives out of this one, whether it's winning the second half or maybe even just that fourth quarter. I was trying to get a live look at C.J. Stroud's passing yards, but even at this point, you're like, are they really going to keep him in the mix? So he's got 179 passing yards. The updated line at the FanDuel Sportsbook sits at 232 and the hook there. So if we factor in that C.J. Stroud will play out the rest of this game, don't mind him picking up another 50 yards. But again, just a little cautious and scared that maybe he doesn't see at the end of the fourth. If the Baltimore Ravens put up another score, I think it could be lights out and a matter of both teams just sort of playing out the clock, trying to get through the fourth quarter. But 3rd and 3, it looks like they're trying to make a bit of an inroads here. Very good chance of getting a score. C.J. Stroud, Tom, full credit to him. There's nothing going on the offensive side, but he's trying his best. He's trying to get that run game going. He's trying to get out of the pocket, but just cannot escape the Ravens defense.
And this is not just for C.J. Stroud, but I feel like this is a theme that we see for a lot of quarterbacks across the league where it's like someone's got to help him. And if it's not the offensive line breaking down, it's receivers not able to get open. They're not able to establish the run. They're not able to make things easy for quarterbacks. So we have seen this from Stroud at times. Like I said, the offensive line for the Texans has been terrible this year. And if we aren't seeing anyone do anything in the passing game, C.J. Stroud has to do it all by himself. So this is, I don't want to say it reminds me of Justin Herbert, but over the past few weeks for the Chargers, with J.K. Dobbins out, Gus Edwards and Kamani Vidal have done nothing on the ground, and it is put on the shoulders of Herbert each and every week. So we can draw some type of comparisons for other players. So I don't mind looking to a Herbert prop this week, not to mention, I already do like the Chargers from the previous segment, but it's a pretty consistent theme for a lot of teams.
It really is, and we saw Justin Herbert. He just took the result into his hands last Thursday night against the Broncos, and the Chargers going against the Patriots coming up on Saturday, Saturday afternoon. That will be the first of a 3-game slate in the NFL. And let's take it to game 2 here, Tom. I want to get your thoughts. Broncos against the Bengals. A lot on the line in terms of that wild card position. The Denver Broncos, they were in control of that game early against the Chargers. They lost it late for the Bengals. Joe Burrow doing everything in his power. They've won 3 in a row. They're looking to make it 4. They get back to Paycor Stadium. How do you see it playing out on Saturday?
It's got to be the under 49.5. And I know that might not be the most exciting thing. 2 good offenses, ascending quarterback with Bo Nix. I talked highly about Joe Burrow, what they can do on offense, but this game is of too importance. Like, it's such a high importance for both teams that they don't want to turn this into a track meet. They do not want to increase the variance by having more and more possessions and more scores. They need to reel things in, keep things under control, and really limit the chances on both sides.
Bengals are a field goal favorite coming up on Saturday against the Denver Broncos. One of the higher totals going in to Week 17. That number sitting at 49.5. I like the look at the unders there as well. More coming up on the other side. You're watching GameDay Live.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
Oh, that just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
We're back into In-Game Live. The party continues here on the SportsGrid Network. Dubs Anderson alongside Tom Vecchio. Plenty of great action in the NBA to come and plenty of live action right here, right now. 76ers taking back control of this game over the reigning champs, the Boston Celtics, 100-86 with 7 minutes left in the fourth. Tyrese Maxey setting the tone here, 27 points, 12 assists, and coming out of the halftime break time, we were seeing it the same. I thought Boston were going to get back into this game, but really just struggling to put up the points, notably in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Celtics came out and they looked good. That's where I said I was jumping in at -2.5. And, that's all but gone at this point. We can live with that. But credit to the 76ers for coming out and taking down, I want to say, a far superior team, at least based on this year's results. We knew that the 76ers do have talent, but they have not put it together on a consistent basis. They also haven't been out there enough to say that they can put it together on a consistent basis, but they're getting done. Maxey and Embiid's up to 23. They're getting the points going. Caleb Martin, we spoke about. I just didn't get it in soon enough when he was sitting at 11 points and his line was 12.5. He's now up to 20 points. He's knocking down those threes, like I said. He's 6 of 8 from deep. He was 3 of 5 at the time. I said he was going to get those open shots in the corner, on the wing, whatever it was, because Embiid and Maxey were going to be taking the majority of the defensive focus, and it came down to Martin making those shots, which he did. So he flew over the 12.5 prop. So if you were able to get that in, congrats. I didn't get it in fast enough before the line moved, but I don't want to say we have a game on our hands. I think the 76ers have this in control, and your plus 9.5 is looking great.
That's looking fantastic. Can we find a middle? Could I entertain the Celtics grabbing 10.5 right now? That total shifts to 221, or do I just sit it out, Tom? Do I say, hey, Dubsy, it's Christmas Day. You've got a nice looking ticket here, 76ers. They should be able to try and get the outright win here, or do we try and take a little side swipe with the Celtics? They're now down by 15 points. Could they cover 10.5 live?
They can cover 10.5 live, but what about you have Embiid, right, going for 28 or 29?
29.5, the live number taken for Joel Embiid. He's currently got 23. Needs 6 more. I need this to be a rock fight. Otherwise, I don't think he gets there.
So if he gets there, it's because the Celtics probably continue scoring, which means they would be covering 10.5. So again, this is a one specific situation that we're talking through now, but this applies to anyone who's been in this spot where you have one thing going, you jump in live on a player, and now in order for the player to get there, you also need X, Y, and Z to happen. So you can kind of talk through these things, which is what we're doing on an in-game show where you have a bet placed, something changes, you're looking at this other team, are they going to be able to make this comeback, this little push on offense, which is all just good betting talk. And again, not just this one specific spot, but it's just good to talk these things through and understand these circumstances.
And you can really, I guess, jump on the back of the ebbs and flows that we see day in, day out for the association. So I do think the Celtics get back into this game. They're down by 15.5. I don't think they win it straight up, but I do think they can get it close enough, which gives the 76ers a bit of a scare. With pressure comes intensity. With that, I think the ball funnels through Joel Embiid, who's already been out there for 26 minutes. So good to see the big fella starting to stack up the stats there as well. Tom, what have your thoughts been on the association? I was catching up with a couple of sports minds yesterday, a couple of betting tragics, and I felt like the common theme that I took away from a couple of the conversations is that the NBA right now, not a good product. A bit of disappointment with it being 3 heavy on the nightly. There's just whoever makes that deep shot. It goes on a bit of a run. We're seeing games that are won by 20, 30 points. We're seeing totals go north of 235 there as the game total. But what's been your big takeaway from what you've seen thus far in the season?
It's along those lines. I don't like to see the fact that there's so much discrepancy between the top of the standings and the bottom of the standings, where the Cavs, 15, 16 games, wherever they won to start the season, they're sitting 26-4. And then we're seeing these teams consistently at the bottom of the league, whether it be the Raptors, the Wizards, the Hornets, these teams that are failing to put together competent teams on a night in, night out basis, add in all the injuries. And it makes the viewing experience, and then as we turn to the betting experience, it makes it really tough where you're on a player, he gets ruled out. Why is he ruled out? We don't know. Just something changed. So all your research went into this, and that turns people away from simply enjoying one basketball game, a TNT game, and all of a sudden players get ruled out 30 minutes. So there's too many factors pulling in different directions. The threes, what I think are lack of competent offenses overall. There's just too many factors going on. And we talked about this during the break. I think they need to decrease the number of games in the regular season. Drop it down to 70. Get players out there healthy and ready to go every single night. It will be a better product.
Was it a thumbs up or thumbs down going through the NBA Cup? We saw the Bucks; they prevailed, and suddenly that chemistry between Dame Time and Giannis Antetokounmpo looks a lot better. And if they get hot, watch out. And Doc Rivers, after the big celebration, was telling us, we'll put the champagne on ice. This one's okay, but we're looking towards the big dance. What was your, key takeaway from the NBA Cup?
I like it. I think that they're adding an extra element to it. I hate the courts. I hate the court colors. These bright greens, bright reds. I don't know. I'm not that old. I'm over 30, but I'm just saying, I just don't. It hurts my eyes. I don't think it's a good viewing experience. So these bright greens, these bright reds, get them out of there. I don't mind with some type of special court that they have, but let's make it consistent across the league. Let's make it consistent every time they play these games, because these massively bright red courts, I literally can't stand.
Nah, and it looks like you're playing on top of a couple of highlighters. Never been a fan, and certainly not one now. So keeping it in theme with the hoops talk, Knicks got the win earlier today. The Timberwolves, nice looking road victory over the Dallas Mavericks, and the 76ers now up by 15 points with 5 minutes left here in the fourth. We still got 2 games coming up later this evening. Lakers go against the Golden State Warriors, favored by 3.5, and the Nuggets going against the Phoenix Suns at 2.5. There's King LeBron. There's the great Steph Curry, KD, plenty of star power on offer for the Wednesday afternoon. And speaking of star power, we've got the one and only Coach James Young joining us after the next break. So with that, we can sneak in a little football talk, Tom. Any updates from what we have seen going into the fourth quarter? The Ravens continue to roll. How much longer do we leave these superstars out there? King Henry's got 143. At what point do you just say, let's go and put him on ice?
Yeah, I think we're getting to this point. And he's at 143 now. Like you said, we did mention his line when it was up at 161 and 141. So if you jumped in on over 141, at least he's there now, assuming no more, negative run plays. But this has got to be the last drive for them. Whatever the result may be, field goal, touchdown, punt, it doesn't matter. Get him out of the game. Put him on nice, like you said. Get rested. Big matchup next week against the Steelers to close out the season. No more need for them to be out there.
King Henry going to be very well rested going into that next one if they can get him on the sidelines. Now, in terms of what else we have on tap in the NFL, 3 games on Saturday. We've jumped in, previewed 2. Early thoughts: Cardinals, Rams, Kyler Murray, Arizona. What has gone wrong?
I have been on the record as saying that the Cardinals are frauds for over a month at this point. The Rams had a better shot to win the division when I mentioned it in the beginning or the middle of November. It is all Rams. It is all Rams. It's Puka. It's Kyron Williams on the ground, and it's Stafford in a bounce-back game.
Let's go Rams out here at SoFi Stadium. Fast Track coming up on Saturday evening. You can watch and wager along right here with us on the Sports Grid Network. Time for a quick timeout. On the other side, it is the MVP of Christmas Day, Coach James Young, coming up.
We good? We clear? JY, what's going on?
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make
Christmas, happy holidays.
Predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win
on?
big even if your team loses. Plus, the
bet?
multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into In-Game Live. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Dubs Anderson alongside Tom Vecchio, now joined by the one, the only, and I feel like it has been a minute, my good friend, Coach James Young. JY, what is happening? 5 games on the NBA slate. Are you not entertained?
You know what? Listen, these games have been better than the NFL. I mean, I know they're not going to outdraw the NFL, but it's been way better basketball. Obviously, the Victor Wembanyama performance, game 1 versus the Knicks, outstanding. Everybody could stop with the Mikal Bridges talk about too much giving up for him with 41 points. Game number 2, Kyrie goes on a heater. And we have a good game right here. Philadelphia 76ers team that is underachieved all year. But, I mean, I guess I'll call them the healthiest they've been since Embiid did play and up 8 with 3 minutes to go. But with Boston, you know, they can turn it on real quick with the way they shoot the ball from 3.
I was going to ask you that, Coach. Number 6.5 for the Celtics. It looks like they're getting back into this ball game. Do we expect it to be, 1-2 possession coming down to the final couple of minutes?
I think so. I think Boston will throw one last punch. Listen, they are going to shatter NBA records in regards to 3-point shots, right? And they've already shot 45, and they've made 18 at 40%. So to me, they hit 1 or 2 more, they're right back into this. They just got a steal and a turnover and, a layup. So now down 8, 3 minutes up to go, you get a stop, you bang a 3, it's a 5-point game. Now you're in that margin of error where you can kind of cover. So I still think you get one last punch here by the Celtics in the last 3 minutes.
All right, Coach, as we turn to the night games, what are you expecting from this first one? Because I lean on the over. I also lean on the Warriors slightly, but I'm on Rui Hachimura under 11.5 points. What are you expecting from this one in terms of scoring? Who's going to be getting it done on both sides?
Well, you look at both teams, and especially Golden State after a hot start, Tom's really kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit with their play. So, there's coming off a loss versus Indiana, 111-105. I think the game does play over because I do think you'll get pace and there's not going to be a strong defensive play here. And, with Steph and LeBron, guys, we don't know how many more of these we got left out of these two.
Yes.
So I think there's going to be a cinema today. So to me, I look over. I think both of them go over their points prop tonight.
Okay, because I have a small play on LeBron to record a triple-double because I was thinking, how many more Christmas games are we going to get from him? Right?
Yeah.
Very small play on a LeBron triple-double.
I think you're going to see cinema tonight. The stars have come out to play today. Kyrie came out to play late. Obviously, Wembanyama. By the way, guys, we talked about the Celtics. 5-0 run that quick. 2:25 left. It's a 3-point game. So now you're looking at, do you jump on the Celtics to see if they steal this game? Because Philadelphia looks all out of sorts. And with the fact that, sorry, I changed the subject, with the Celtics, or I should say the Sixers, not having these guys all play together, this is where it gets tricky down the stretch. Is it Maxey? Is it JoJo? Is it Paul George? Where are you going to go to your offense here? I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics came back and stole this game completely and get the win.
Coach, I mean, sound the alarm. We took the 76ers, grabbing 8.5 prior to tip-off. We jumped back in, the Celtics grabbing 10.5. The Celtics are still plus 186 straight up on the money line. Absolutely love that. Let's go for the Celtics to get that result straight up here. Maybe even a little OT banger, if you will. But keep it in line with the Golden State Warriors playing host to the Lakers. You look at the ATS, the overs, unders, 2 for 10 last 10 between has gone unders. I mean, what do we think? 219, 220 thereabouts is that total. Do you project to see a lot of points off LeBron, Steph showing up for a big game, or could it be a low scorer? I feel like this is a low total, JY.
It screams low total, but like we just talked about, it's the cinema aspect of these games. The majority of games, I do believe, on Christmas Day do tend to go over. I know we've had 2 under so far, but I do think it happens more in fact. If you look at the last couple of times they played, 134, 120, 128, 121, 128, 110, 145, 144. This ain't screaming defense. As Joel Embiid like he just got hurt again. I mean, this guy's like this. I mean, put this guy in bubble wrap for God's sake. But I do think this game is going to go over, Dubs. Because like I said, I think LeBron, I think Steph, I think big performance out of both of them.
I'm on board with that. That's what, we should be seeing Granted, both these teams are very middling to start the year defensively. We saw the Warriors get 50-pieced by the Grizzlies a couple days ago, last week, whenever it was. I'm on board with them buying into a little bit of that showmanship that we have a Christmas game, and that's what we should be seeing tonight. Do you have any thoughts for the late game? Because I have not been able to get a read on Phoenix losing to the Pistons at home, losing against the Nuggets the other night. What are your thoughts for this game? Because I have zero read on it.
It's a tough one for me. I would just take Denver on the money line. I think Devin, if I'm not mistaken, Devin Booker's out. They're another team that they're so flaky. But if you want to go prop, I think KD goes absolutely nuclear. I think that's something you want to take a look at. On the other side, Aaron Gordon. Points, rebounds, assists, I don't think it's too high. I think it's like 21.5 or so. And I think he averages about 24 a game. So that could be someone that can kind of get busy a little bit as teams go up on Joker. And like I said, if we want to play narratives, if KD goes for 30, maybe PRA or a triple-double for the Joker today because he seems to give Yusuf Nurkic fits.
Aaron Gordon, 21.5. I like that number. Players, points, rebounds, and assists. I mean, the Nuggets seem to be playing some really good basketball again here, Coach Jay White. So we like him for Wednesday evening. But what about bigger picture? Are they starting to make a bit of a tilt at the thing?
Maybe, but right now, guys, Oklahoma City's a team I like out west. Out east, it is Boston, but the Knicks are coming. And when they get Mitchell Robinson back, they're going to be a lot better defensively. I still think the Knicks have a trade up their sleeve. They may go get a defender for their bench.
Okay, so the Knicks as the team to watch. Coach, stick around on the other side. Want to get some futures thoughts out there for the association as they continue.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this bet than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
They just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
We are back. We are back for In-Game Live. Talking here with James Young. JY, What do you like for these upcoming? Actually, you know what? Let's turn to futures. We prefaced prior to the break. Let's talk about some futures for this because NBA trade deadline not too far away, coming up in February. We have some reports this morning that Jimmy Butler may or may not be traded. Future landing spots for him, anything else along the trade? Because I want to turn this and saying, is there a team that we should be buying into in either the East or the West before trades happen and get their numbers right now?
Yeah, I think Jimmy Butler is going to get traded. This started last year. He wanted a max extension. Pat Riley said you got to show up and play games in order to do so. There was the whole beef with Tibbs over the summer that I think Riley told him to shut up, and it's just a weird dynamic with them. So I think Jimmy Butler's going to get moved. You look at a lot of other guys. We were talking to the commercial, Zach LaVine getting moved. You can look at the Pelicans have to blow it up. They just got DeJounte Murray, so C.J. McCollum. I think Zion's on the block. Who's going to want to take Zion because he's never healthy? So there's going to be a lot of guys on the move. So when you start thinking about teams like, okay, who can you buy in on? Well, I think the best team out west is Oklahoma City. I think what you can get is Sam Presti's got all of that draft capital. So if he wants to go take one more swing, he can go take one more swing and go ahead and add someone. I am fading Minnesota. I am fading Golden State. I am fading the Lakers. I'm fading Phoenix. Houston is the one team that's very interesting. Okay?
Yes.
Because this is another team. They're young. They play phenomenal defense. Phenomenal defense. So to me, if you don't want to go grab them, they're going to be a team that could be like a 3 seed or 4 seed and still get no respect. Maybe you play them by series. Because what's going to happen with them, Tom, is they're going to be the underdog no matter who they play the first round because they've not been there. That may be a way to play that out west. East, future's working differently, though. Coach of the year. Why are we all not just saying right now, give it to Jamal Mosley? I understand Cleveland's been great. I get it. But Kenny Atkinson's had his team the entire year. Banchero goes out an oblique injury. Here comes Wagner. Steps up. Wagner gets hurt. Here comes his brother. He gets hurt. Then he just beat the Celtics at home. I think it was 10-1 last I checked. Coach of the year should be Jamal Mosley.
Coach, who else outside of them in the Eastern Conference could be a bit of a contender trying to make a surge as we move through the regular season? We identified, there's obviously a couple of elite teams in the Cavs, the Celtics, and what we have seen out the Knicks. Magic have looked fantastic, but who's been a slow starter that if they can get healthy or maybe bring in, one or two more weapons, could have that class to sort of make a charge?
Honestly, guys, you're watching it right now. If Philadelphia can stay healthy, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. If you think about this right now, guys, they're tied in the loss column with Chicago, Detroit, and they're one ahead of the loss column of the Nets. Nets are going to tank. They're gone. I think Chicago is going to sell. So they're going to be gone. So now, if you find a way to just move up your 2 games out of the loss column with Atlanta and the Pacers, I think Philadelphia is a team, I think right now, it was around even money. I think they find a way to get into the playoffs, and then it gets really tricky depending on who they play in the first round.
So when you're looking at these, are you buying into both playoff odds, like to make the playoffs, and then do you put an extra on the conference, or is that a separate thing that you do entirely? Like, I want to buy in on the 76ers to make the playoffs and then take a conference title on them, or will you wait for that first round matchup, like you said, when it comes to the Rockets? Because I'm a big believer in the Rockets, and I think I want to buy into the Rockets at 16-1 to win the conference, hoping that they trade for Jimmy Butler and just getting there before the line moves.
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation, right, Tom? So a team like Houston with that kind of value, you go buy in right now, right?
Yeah.
For Philadelphia, a team that's just so flaky with the injuries, I think you just take them to make the playoffs and then see their matchup and then see if you want to play it by series or you go all the way. Because at the end of the day, it's if they could get like the 8 seed, right? Let's say Cleveland is the 1. Then there's a path for them to go all the way to the finals because the Knicks and the Celtics, they're 2 and 3. They're going to kill each other in the other side. So that is more of a matchup thing. But Houston, go take it because I am a big believer in what Ime Udoka is doing there with the Rockets.
I like it. A couple of buy low spots. Coach James Young getting us up to speed in the association. Coach, before we lose you at the top of the segment, What's on tap? What's for dinner? Christmas Day special on the table.
Beer. That's it.
Let's go.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
Yeah, this is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
Got it.
That just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back into In-Game Live here on the SportsGrid Network. Dubs Anderson alongside Tom Vecchio. Game 2 of the NFL Christmas Day slate sees the Ravens absolutely rolling 31-2 over the Texans. We're in the final 2 minutes here in the fourth quarter, and this one pretty much on par, Tom, with what we expected. The Ravens just being a step above, really leaning on that run game. Notable performers here. King Henry, 27 carries for 147 yards. And I feel like we haven't even seen Derrick Henry, star running back for the Ravens, in the last 10 minutes. So they are cruising towards victory. They'll get the cover, and it looks like the unders will come in. But with that, let's look ahead to some of the games that we have on tap for Week 17 in the NFL. Thursday night, Seahawks take on the Bears. I think the Bears are live. You expect Caleb Williams to have a big performance, plus 160 on the money line. We've jumped into the Saturday slate, 3 games on offer, but let's take it to Sunday morning. So from Seattle to Chicago to the Jets going against the Bills. One team surging in the right direction, playing playoff football. Another team in the Jets looking for a crash landing.
Yeah, I have. We've gotten to the point of the season where the Jets have quit, and it's not a new thing. They've quit as a team weeks ago, and you could send me the money, and I still wouldn't put it on the Jets at plus 9.5. If Josh Allen is the MVP candidate that we all believe him to be, and the Bills are not going to get the 1 seed because we know the Chiefs have had that, but they're going to be pushing deep into the playoffs, a Super Bowl hopeful, they should be able to cover this number against the Jets. So I will take the Bills at minus 9.5. I'm just simply not going to be betting on the Jets for this week or for next week. I'm done.
Tom, let's start with the Jets. It's easy to say things went wrong as soon as Aaron Rodgers made his way to the big city there, but it's been a dismal display. They're 4-11 for the season. They had a win 2 weeks ago against the Jacksonville Jags, but coming into this season, 9.5 was the win total. I could not run to the digital window fast enough to smash the unders, and it's been a dumpster fire. I think we'll see the same again on Sunday going against the Bills. But is it all Aaron Rodgers? Is it all his fault, or is there nothing? Is there something else that we can point the blame at for the New York Jets?
It could be a variety of things. You could start with ownership, top down from Woody Johnson on down, where they've changed quarterbacks, they've changed coaches, they've changed GMs, and they're still a team that hasn't made the playoffs in whatever it is, 10, 12 years at this point. So they weren't good when they had Adam Gase as their head coach. They weren't good when they had Zach Wilson as the quarterback. They weren't good for this, that, the other thing. I think it's an organizational thing. It's not one quarterback or one coach, because they've fired coaches, they've changed this, that, the other thing. They've tried young quarterbacks, they've tried veteran quarterbacks, and none of it works. It's an organizational thing. They're just not an organization worth betting on.
It's been a tough watch. Not the biggest of Aaron Rodgers fans, and it is what it is for the Jets. Interested to see how it's going to look coming into next season. But on the other side of the coin, the Buffalo Bills playing some really good football. Josh Allen looks to have cemented that MVP top gong. But what's been the standout from what we've seen last couple of years out of the Buffalo Bills to what is working for them right now? What's been that difference for you?
I love the fact that the Bills have so many options on offense, and it can make things difficult from a prop betting perspective. But when you have Cook coming out of the backfield, and you add in Ray Davis, and you draft a rookie wide receiver with Keenan Coleman, and you have an emergence of Khalil Shakir, and you can now add in Dalton Kincaid, and now you trade for Amari Cooper. You have so many options on offense that, yes, no one player has to be the dominant feature in the offense, which was kind of the vibe when Stephon Diggs was there. Like, they had to get the ball to him X amount of times per game. That can kind of hamper your offense overall. Now it's all spread out. And again, that makes things difficult from a prop betting perspective, because we don't know, whoever has the hot hand, that player's going to be flying over their totals. But now they have a well-balanced offense, and they can just move the ball down the field effectively, run, pass, play action, deep shots. Josh Allen running the ball. They are firing on all cylinders because they have the tools to do so. It's honestly great to see.
The Buffalo Bills, they're going to be a formidable foe going in to the playoffs, especially if you're going to have to run it through their building. In terms of Week 17, we've also got Patty Mahomes, the Chiefs, and Goff taking a look at those teams to win the Super Bowl. The Lions is the shortest price, and rightfully so. I mean, they've looked fantastic. They can score with the best of them, and I guess it's the pressure on the defensive side of the ball that we can have question marks for Detroit. We'll get to see them on Monday Night Football going against the 49ers with absolutely nothing to play for. You look at that number at 3.5. Detroit, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, offense is there, but could it be the defense which is going to need to step up in the testing times for you, Tom?
It has to be. I have been on record on various shows across SportsGrid throughout the season saying that the best team in the NFL is the Lions. They're the class of the NFL, and that has changed. That has changed because, like you said, the defense has been dealt so many injuries. So I love this spot for the Lions. I love them at 3.5. I will honestly be altering them to -6.5. This is a spot that they want to exact a little bit of revenge after losing the NFC Championship last year. And this is like not just a win that they need, because we do see the Eagles, the Vikings close behind them in terms of the seeding in the NFC, but this is like an emotional win for them as well. So I like them at -3.5. I will be taking them at -6.5 as well. I think we want to get to the part of the year that we actually start looking at exact matchups for Super Bowl. So like buying into those before the playoffs start, because a Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl wouldn't shock anyone, and we get that at a pretty solid price.
Is that the way you'd be attacking it, Tom? Do you see it playing out like that? The chalk would prevail once it's all said and done, getting through those conference championships?
I think so. The concern I have is with that defense. It just gets worse and worse every week. And, seeing Caleb Williams pass for 300 yards against the Lions last week, like, the Lions are supposed to be a great team, and a rookie quarterback and an offense that is struggling overall, despite the fact that I talked highly about Caleb Williams. Like, the Lions are supposed to be a Super Bowl favorite, or the Super Bowl favorite. They should have things tightened up by this point in the season. So a Chiefs-Lions, a Chiefs-Eagles, that would interest me at this point.
What would interest you on the value long shot play out of the NFC? If Lions take top seed, we know the Eagles are going to be there in the mix. Yeah. But outside of the top tier, the top two, who could be getting set to maybe pull off that potential upset going on the road?
It's the Rams. It's the Rams. I don't think anyone wants to face the Rams because they, like you said, they probably, well, they would, if they win the NFC West, which we'll find out, they would actually be hosting a home playoff game. But after that first round, they would be going on the road. So a team that's proven before, they're fully healthy on offense. Their defense is good. It's certainly not great. They've improved throughout the year. The young players that they've drafted on every primetime game, they constantly talk about the GM and drafting and all these second, third round picks that they've brought in on defense. But I would not want to face that team with Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams. You got Tyler Higbee back. You have the pieces, and they've done it before. They know what it takes. Signing up for the Rams.
Yeah, love the look of that. And you've also got Sean McVay, one of the smartest minds in the game. Kyron Williams, he's been absolutely fantastic going through not just this season, but last year to match as well. What about the Falcons? Say the Falcons take out top billing NFC South and find their way in. Did you like what you saw from Michael Penix at quarterback last week?
I do, but it was also against the Giants. So we have to take that with a grain of salt. We have to see him under duress. We have to see him in different circumstances. We have to see him on the road, underdog, favorite, et cetera, et cetera. And we won't have enough time with the final two games this season. So I'm actually looking to fade the Falcons over the next few weeks. Even with this hype, I actually want to go against that because I think there is too much hype.
Yeah, and you look at the way they round out the regular season. It's the Commanders coming up here for Week 17, then against the Panthers in that final week. And Bryce Young and Carolina playing much better football. So it's a scary one for them. Coming into Week 17, they're sitting up top of the standings with 8 wins, but closely followed there by Tampa Bay and the Bucs. A big bad Baker Mayfield. He got that dog in him, and you're right. He's going to figure out a way and trying to get them to the top of the standings. Plenty going on in the NFL landscape. We do have the second game going official here. So we'll hit a quick timeout. Plenty of recaps on the other side. The live update. You NBA bettors.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
Yeah, this is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Played a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
Oh, that just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Back into In-Game Live here on the Sports Grid Network. Dubs Anderson alongside Tom Vecchio rounded out our number 3. Well, we've still got 16 minutes until top of the hour. And for you bettors, still plenty coming up here for this evening. Lakers getting set to square off against the Golden State Warriors. Top of the hour, the Nuggets going against the Phoenix Suns over there in the desert. Denver set as your favorites going on the road. And in case you missed it from earlier today, the Knicks get it done over the Spurs, 117-114. But Victor Wembanyama, the star of the show. The Timberwolves, they rally late. Luka set to miss a bit of time for the Mavericks. They go down. They lose 105-99. Timberwolves getting that result. And the 76ers just going official here in the last few minutes. 118-114 over the Boston Celtics. Tyrese Maxey, the superstar standout. 33 points, 12 assists, and continues to put up some very, very nice-looking stats there. So big win there, Tom, for the 76ers. They were tested. The Celtics tried to make a bit of a push late in that fourth quarter, but ultimately it just wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough, and I believe this is a couple losses in a row for the Celtics. I'm honestly immediately want to find out who they play next and just be ready to jump on that line. Good teams don't lose that many games in a row, so it's obviously not going to be a Celtics money line play just because those lines are obviously immense at minus 900 or whatever. It'll be a spread play. They're going up against the Pacers the next game on Friday, so I'll be on the Celtics for the next game. They're going to bounce back. They're too good of a team. They got the scoring going, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. Again, like you said, huge performance from Maxey, good performance from Embiid. Obviously, good to see him play the whole game, and obviously after the turned ankle, as we saw in pregame, he was good to go. As you said, Lakers coming up. That line has moved just a touch. It's down with 3.5 in favor of the Warriors. Total is 219.5. I still lean Warriors. I still lean over. And again, small play on LeBron, triple-double. It's going to put on a show tonight.
I like it. It's a good angle. It's a great situational trend. You know, Coach joined us, and we're seeing it the same there. It's a primetime spot, bright lights. It's Christmas Day in the association, a day in which it used to be all about basketball. LeBron James, he still gets up for the big occasions, and he certainly knows what environment he will be playing in. So a big performance expected there from King James, going up to San Francisco to go against the Golden State Warriors. Minus 180 for Steph and the lads. They're juiced up there, -4. It's a scary line for me. I think the Lakers are live, and I guess we could correlate that with LeBron James having a big performance, but Anthony Davis also having a fantastic season as well. So 2 games remain in the association. On the NFL side, on the football side of things, second game has gone final. The Baltimore Ravens continue a fantastic season, 31-2 over the Houston Texans. The Texans were coming into this one a little banged up, a little depleted, and they were never in this ball game. Big takeaway, that run game for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, he sets a new mark, and Derrick Henry, one of the toughest to try and slow down. So another big result here for Baltimore, Tom.
Another big result, and we saw a wide variety of outcomes in the player prop market, literally across the board. Derrick Henry flies over his numbers, over carries, over the yards. He has the touchdown. Mark Andrews goes under the receptions, unfortunately for you, but he goes over his yards. Zay Flowers, 2 of 31, falls under. Derrick Henry did pick up 18 yards in the air. He goes over. Isaiah Likely only 9 yards. And on the other side, nothing from Joe Mixon on the ground. 9 carries for 26 yards. He only adds 13 in the air. He didn't get over the 22.5. Nico Collins' line, at one point earlier in the week, I saw it up at 94.5. He ends with 59 and only 3 receptions. So a lack of production from the Houston receiving core, and they got nothing going on the ground. It was all Ravens, start to finish, wire to wire, whatever you want to call it. They rolled.
And Tom, I'll be that guy. Things do not look good coming out of NRG Stadium this afternoon, this evening for the Houston Texans. D'Amico Ryans, they're going to have to find a couple of answers, but big questions asked, and it's a scary outlook trying to close out the regular season and going into the playoffs. But looking ahead to what else we have on tap, we do have Thursday night football, Seahawks, Bears. That's going to be an exciting one tomorrow. You can watch a long play along right here with us on the SportsGrid Network. The Bears sitting there plus 160. Big outsiders at home. The points sitting at 42.5. I think Chicago's live in this spot. But there's a certain game I want to get your thoughts on here, Tom. It's a big showdown between the Packers and the Vikings coming out of the same division, NFC North. I tell you what, absolutely stacked. Looks to be close to a pick 'em here. 1.5 as that spread towards Minnesota, two exciting quarterbacks, two exciting teams, both trending towards playing playoff football. Great to see.
Absolutely awesome to see. It's unbelievable to see three teams from the same division with 11 wins. I think it's important to note not only what we have this week, but what we have in the last week of the season. And that would be the Vikings taking on the Lions. So if the Vikings were to lose this, they have to play the Lions, which is also a losable matchup for them. In the final week of the season, the Green Bay Packers play the Bears. That is a winnable matchup for them. So that being said, the Packers could jump them in the standings. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot if the Vikings win the division. It does come down to the seeding in the NFC playoffs. So it points me to the under in this game because it is a vital game. It's not a must-win game, but it's still very, very important when it comes to the NFC seeding overall. So I want to lean on the under on this game. It may not be exciting given the talent that we have on both sides and the offenses that we've really seen shine on both teams, but I think under is the right play. I will be looking to still take a live over, live 40.5, live 41 if the game starts off slow. Take a live over and still be on the under, get that middle.
Get Josh Jacobs running in this thing early for the Green Bay Packers. If we had to set a mock 2-minute drill time, you've got Jordan Love, the Green Bay Packers trying to get it down the field. You've got Sam Darnold, who, to tell you the truth, had no expectations for early in the year, but the Vikings have been fantastic off the back of his quarterback play. Who would you trust more in trying to get their team down the field, high-pressure situation?
I would take Love, but I want the pass-catching options from the Vikings. I want Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
Is JJ the best wide receiver in the game right now?
He's like a 1A, 1B with Jamar Chase. It's too tough to pick.
Yeah, what a showdown, what a matchup. This looks to be Week 17 in the NFL. 2 games from today. We've got 1 coming up tomorrow, 3 on Saturday, and that super slate really starting to heat up on Sunday afternoon. Time for a quick timeout. On the other side, we're rounded out hour number 3 right here on the Game Line.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all people.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. The holidays come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest storylines to the best betting insights. We've got everything you need to crank up the excitement this season. We can't promise there won't be a little yelling.
Play a decent schedule. They have maybe 500.
Oh, they just ruined my day.
But we can guarantee a whole lot of fun. Merry Christmas from all of us at SportsGrid.
Welcome back into In-Game Live here on the SportsGrid Network. Merry Christmas. Happy Wednesday evening. Dubs Anderson alongside Tom Vecchio. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. Hopefully you've had an enjoyable day thus far. There's still plenty of great action to come moving into to your Wednesday evening. Still 2 games in the NBA. So let's take a look at that final slate, Tom. Let's get the bettors up to speed. A couple of best bets. Now, I know you've already thrown these out throughout the last couple of hours, but Lakers going against the Golden State Warriors up there in the Bay. Steph Curry, LeBron James, superstars, an absolute surplus of. Is it all about Golden State at minus 180, or are you looking towards King James to sit up on top of that throne?
Yeah, I'm on James, a small play on a triple-double. I think both these teams are extremely average on the defensive side. I mentioned when JY was on, the Warriors just lost by 50 points to the Grizzlies last week or whenever it was. Not expecting much on the defensive end, so I do lean on the over. I think there's going to be some points back and forth. I like the LeBron triple-double again. A narrative play, a fun play, a small unit on that, a quarter unit, whatever it might be. But then I'm on Rui Hachimura under 11.5 points. He just does not play a main primary scoring role on the Lakers. It's going to be AD, it's going to be LeBron, it's going to be Austin Reeves in the mix. So that's where I'm leaning. Points overall in the game, but specifically not for Rui Hachimura.
Lakers going against the Golden State Warriors. You've convinced me LeBron's going to have a big Wednesday evening, and rightfully so. Primetime spot. Coach James Young joined us a little earlier this hour. He was big on the total, big on the overs. I think we do fly over to 221.5. We have seen a bit of movement in that market, but I do think it'll be offensive. Happy for this one. And then a little later this evening, the Denver Nuggets going against the Phoenix Suns out there in the desert. Couple of superstars we're looking at here. Kevin Durant at home. Nikola, the Joker, Jokic, no laughing matter at minus 142 projected to get it done. So who takes it? Nuggets against the Suns.
It's the Nuggets. And as JY said, we're just getting flakiness from the Suns. And you lose at home to the Pistons. I know it's a regular season game, and everyone's going to be, it's just one regular season game. Team can't get up for a random game on, I don't know, it was Tuesday, Wednesday night, whatever it was last week. But then you lost the Nuggets again. They're just rolling with all the momentum. Devin Booker's out for this game. We're going to have to see superstar stuff from Kevin Durant and partially Bradley Beal out there if they're going to come away with this win. And I understand the Nuggets haven't been the Nuggets of years past where they're just rolling through teams. I get that, but they're still the better team in this spot, and I'll side with the Nuggets. I still think Kevin Durant can have 35 points, but he'll do so in a losing effort.
And not to say, Tom, that any of these superstar athletes that are paid $1 gazillion in the NBA are not showing up ready to play tonight, but I just feel like Jokic, he doesn't care where you're playing him. They're building, you're building, Christmas night, Thanksgiving, any Monday, any Tuesday. If he's lacing them up, he's getting out there. He's trying to win this thing.
He's always trying to win this thing, and it's my favorite when you bet on a Jokic, let's say a PRA prop, and you see him, he's got a triple-double at halftime. He's got a 12, 10, and 15 line somehow by halftime, and the game is cruising towards hitting the over. Now, you do need that other team to keep things close, so he obviously stays in the game as we can described in the NFL today with players getting pulled early, whatnot. But Jokic is an amazing player to bet on because the way he can get there is in a variety of ways. It doesn't have to be him dropping 50 points. It can be a triple-double, them going a 20, 15, and 10 line. It's always Jokic.
I like that look. 2 games in the NBA coming up for your Wednesday evening. Christmas night doesn't get much better than this. And then tomorrow, obviously, Thursday night football on tap. Seattle Seahawks going against the Chicago Bears. Chicago, they've been struggling. The Seahawks, they've dropped 2. They're trying to stay alive in that playoff hunt. Final thoughts on this one, Tom?
Seahawks win. I'm not sure if they cover. 3.5 is obviously a weird number. If you can get it at 3, take it in game at minus 2.5, whatever it might be. But quickly about Sunday's slate, Mike Evans going up against the Panthers. He needs 91 yards per game to hit 1,000 yards over the final 2 weeks. So Mike Evans prop, once they're posted, that's where I'll be. Of course, tweet them out once I can get them.
8.5. Buccaneers laying at home. A lot on the line. 48.5 is that total. Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers have looked better and better each week, but I love that play on Big Money, Mike Evans. Tom Vecchio, it's been an absolute blast. Had a lot of fun the last few hours. Appreciate yourself and everyone here on the SportsGrid Network behind the scenes. My guy Tommy getting this show moving and grooving in the right direction. And we appreciate all of you guys spending your holidays here with us. Hopefully you've had a bit of fun. Hopefully cashed a couple of nice looking tickets. And don't worry, we got you sorted for later this evening out there on the hardwood as well. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. From all of us right here on the SportsGrid Network.
In the heart of winter, when nights come with a touch of craziness, from unwrapping the latest story